how did you end up in the mortgage business? I always enjoy this question because if you see a smile and nod, none of us, I think, plans to get in the mortgage business, and we all have an interesting story. What's yours? How did you end up in the industry?
Yeah, you should do like a movie of all the mortgage stories.
Everybody has a great story of how they got into it, because for most of us, the vast majority of us, it was not something that we had planned for. Kids don't usually say when they're younger, hey, when I get older, I'm going to be a mortgage loan originator, right?
Well, I mean, I went through the normal training of being a successful loan originator. I was a bag clerk at the supermarket.
I stumbled into it. I was a young kid in college and needed a job. I went to a bank and said, hey, while I'm in school, can I be a teller?
Yeah, it was a complete right angle for me. It was, I sold an airplane. That's not true. I was attempting to sell an airplane, a very expensive airplane, $2 million airplane, about a $30,000 commission to me back in the 80s. That was a pretty big deal.
Quite a bit of money. So you say you had a buddy that was in it. Did he just say, hey, you're coming to work with me? Or how did that happen?
That was more or less it. He said I actually liked people and I was good with numbers, and most people were only good at one, and I would be super successful in the business. And my wife said, that's awesome, but you can't have a commission job. So I was working part-time while I finished up my MBA, and ironically was making a little more money than most of my MBA classmates who I was refinancing at the time because rates were pretty low. And she said, hey, you seem to love what you're doing. You should stick with it. And ironically, now she's in the business because she's the one who runs the team today that I'm no longer running.
I was going to college to get my degree in finance. I was working at Smart and Final as a, everything guy, including the night shift where I, restock shelves. And, I'd gotten just to this point where I wanted to do something different, and I wanted to, it wasn't about making more money. It was just about doing something that had to do with my future career. And I went out to dinner, or not dinner, happy hour. Remember, I was young. Went to happy hour.
Right.
And my best friend's girlfriend's boss was a mortgage broker. He drove a Mercedes. He bought everybody drinks. And I'm like, whoa, this guy's rich.
So I like probably everybody listening to this, got into it by default. Very few of us get into it by design. There's a good friend of mine from college who was, I wanted to be a sportscaster. So that's what I majored in school. And I was applying for jobs, and it was a really tough time during the recession in the early 90s. And a buddy of mine, fraternity brother of mine named Chris Chudikoff, was doing really well doing refis. So I went and hung out with him at work for a couple of days and realized, man, I can make some good money doing this if I just really dedicate myself to it. So that's kind of how I got in the business. And within 3 years, I started my own company.
As a kid, I was actually had too much energy after college, so I started selling stereo equipment, but selling it out of the trunk of my car, built it into a business, and here I am in my early 20s, had all my friends working with me, and we actually had a very successful business, and with some of the money in my early 20s. Now, I grew up really poor, so I know what it's like to be very poor, and to have an opportunity to make some money like that was great for me, but I also wanted to be smart about it. So I noticed real estate values in different markets that I'd go to sell stereo equipment, provided what I thought was, and recognized as a young kid, an opportunity. So I actually started investing in real estate with some of the money I was making, and that turned out to be pretty fruitful. So one day I'm sitting with the mortgage broker who was doing my loan. I says, how do you guys do in the mortgage business? You tell me about it. Here I am, this young kid figuring, heck, if I could sell stereo equipment out of the trunk of my car, I could sell anything. So I was like, hey, how do the top guys in your business do, right? You're kind of like a young kid saying, hey, how do the top guys do? And kind of just on a whim, I got into the mortgage business.
And I cold called the guy, and I think I said something along the line, hey, I met you at happy hour the other night. I don't know what you do. I just want to come learn. I want to, will you meet with me and will you teach me what you do? And, I think I might have even said something stupid like, you don't have to pay me or something. And I went in and interviewed. And I remember I was super nervous. He hired me and I was like, woo, I got the job. Felt like I crushed it. And I came in the next day and he here's the yellow pages. Call all the CPAs and go, hi, my name is Dave Savage. I work with Excalibur Mortgage. We specialize in helping CPAs and financial planners with their real estate financing needs. Do you have any clients that have any real estate financing needs? Now do that 100 times a day, and you'll kill it. So that was my getting started story.
C21 was the big dog, right, in real estate. And so I was in charge of recruiting. He hired a personality. I had no experience at all in real estate, let alone mortgage, and did that for a while, and then made a transition into the mortgage business, which for me, I was the processor's nightmare, because I was the guy that was like, yeah, I think I got their name on the 1003, and I mentioned I got a tea time, like I got to go,
Right,
but
right.
man, if you could just take care of this for me, I got a tea time, I got to roll, that would be awesome. So that was sort of my experience in the mortgage industry for a few years, and then got more into training and coaching after that.
I ended up in the mortgage company and was the inside assistant to the executive. And I was doing mortgages for the internal employees. Didn't know what I was doing, of course, figured it out. And I was also doing the commission checks for all the loan officers. And I started realizing that they were making in a month, what I was making in a year. And I started asking them what they were doing. And I grew up my entire life wanting to make a difference. I told my mom I didn't want to do a job that didn't have impact. And I said, I don't want to sell copiers, and no disrespect to those who do.
Right.
But I felt a calling to just give back and teach. And my mother talked me out of being a teacher and said the income and the stress. And so I stumbled into it. I interviewed a loan officer and said, what do you do? How do you make this kind of money? And what are you doing? And when they told me what they did, they advised me to not do it.
Right.
And it's the worst job you could possibly imagine. Don't do it. And I said, but you just shared with me. Now, this is a loan officer who's trying to talk me out of it. You just shared with me that you're helping people buy homes, and that's the American dream. And every person I ever meet typically wants to buy a home in their lifetime. That sounds like a great job to me. And so That's sort of how I stumbled into it.
That's great.